Good evening, everyone. This is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to Friday Stamping. I'm just going to give it a few seconds. I can see you guys all jumping on. Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Okay, I can see everybody's finding me okay. I'm just going to go through a couple announcements before I get stamping. That way it'll give everybody else a chance to find me. My hostess code for the month of January, when using the hostess code, I always award 3 different products depending on how much you order. So any $50 order, you'll get the classic matte dots. $75, you'll get the matte dots plus 12 sheets of our Sunshine and Rainbow designer paper. And if your order reaches 100, I'm also going to throw in the gingham embossing folder. So all 3 of these products for a $100 order. And don't forget that we are in celebration mode right now, where you earn products for every $50 you order. I'm going to show you some cards that I've been featuring on my blog this week. I've been trying to feature a couple celebration products. This week it was the Driving By stamp set plus the Marvelous designer paper. So if you place a $100 order, you can also earn both of those products. So let me just show you some cards I made. This one was using the masking technique. I did all 3 of the vehicles. I started out with this one, and then I covered it with a Post-it note I cut out, and then stamped these 2. They're all colored with the blends markers. This one, oh, and that one I didn't show you, the Marvelous paper that you can earn for free. This one uses 3 of the sheets of the Marvelous paper. I just love this paper. It's so easy to work with. And then I use the diorama dies for the 2 layers there, plus the little star embellishments. I've got 5 cards to show you while everybody's finding me. This one has 2 layers of the Marvelous paper and just the VW van colored with real red Stampin' blends. Card number 4 is this one. I did a color wash on the back, on the background first with Pool Party and Sahara Sand. I let that dry really well so that I could stamp the sentiment around the vans when I glued those on. And those are all hand cut. There's no dies to go with this set. And then my last one is this one, using the picture this die. So it cuts out these 3 rectangles, and then I just stamped one of each vehicle peeking out through the holes. So a lot of fun. This is a stamp set that's a lot of fun. If you like to color, I would suggest it. So welcome, everyone. I hope everybody's here. I'm going to go through the products I'm using. I gave you guys a sneak peek on the Facebook page, so hopefully you kind of almost sort of guessed what I'm going to be working on. I'm using the Sweet Conversation stamp set along with the Sweet Hearts dies. You can see there's some missing here. I love this set for Valentines. I'm using the Real Red Faux Linen ribbon. I don't know if you'll be able to see the linen lines in there. It's really thin ribbon, which I love. I don't like working with thick ribbon, but this is so soft and easy to work with. Next up is the Iridescent Rhinestone Jewels. I've showed these before. They kind of look clear and pink, but it depends what you put them on. They're iridescent, of course. And let's see, I got a couple more things to show. Real Red and Highland Heather inks. The Word Wishes dies. I'm going to bring in the dies that I've pre-cut already. So I'm using the Happy Valentines. Now a little tip, if you guys have these or you plan on purchasing them, it's kind of hard sometimes to see what the words are. So what I did on the back of my magnet sheet, I actually cut one of each, so I know that what's in there, and I glued them to the back. Hopefully let me take this out. Well, it's still gonna glare because there's a coating on there. I just put a clear sheet on there. Just a little tip so it's easier to find what you need. I've got the Heart Punch Pack. I've got real red scrap for punching. I've got a piece of vellum. Now this measures 8.5 by 8.5. I have a piece of the Sweet Talk designer paper, 10 by 10. I want to show you a little snippets of the sheets in this set. These are all the patterns that come with the set. I am almost out of this paper already because I've used it so much, and you're going to see some more patterns as I work on the project. And then let me just move some stuff over. I have 4 Highland Heather, and those measure 4 by 4, 4 basic white, 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and then I picked out 4 of the patterns from the designer paper, all 4 of these, and these are 3 by 3, so 3 layers. So if you haven't guessed what I'm making yet, it's kind of obvious if you look at these. Let me bring the project in. So I'm going to be creating this beautiful sampler for Valentine's. Now, normally when we do samplers, we do the smaller squares, but I thought it would be neat to just do 4 squares. So easy and so quick. And the only difference is I'm going to have this for my background instead of this one. So I just kind of swapped the patterns. I hope you guys like this. And I do glue all of my samplers on artist canvas. These are 12 by 12. I get them through Amazon. I think sometimes I get a 7-pack or an 8-pack depending on what I find. But these are about 1/2 inch thick, and that's what I glue all my squares on. So I'm going to start out with the designer paper. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm just going to add a mark. Let me make sure. Okay, the hearts are not directional. They're all over the place. I'm just going to mark a 5-inch across from each other, a 5-inch mark. The only reason I'm doing that is because that's where my ribbon's going to go. And I'm going to add a few glue dots on the back just to hold it in place so it's easier for me to tie it. So I'm going to put a glue dot right there. And I'm going to put another glue dot on the other side. Now I'm going to bring the ribbon in. I just want to make sure I have enough for my bow on this end. Okay, I'm going to flip this over, and I'm just going to lay that so that it's centered. And then I'm going to flip it over. The designer paper is a little flimsy to tie around. That's why it's easier to do, to add the glue dots to hold it in place. And you'll see as I try to tighten this, it kind of wants the paper to curl. Okay, there's my bow. I'm just going to bring it in some. Make the bow a little smaller. Now when I do that, I just stretch and tight, and then I pull the tails, and then I'm going to pull again to tighten it. And that's how I make my bows. I don't like large bows. I know a lot of you guys have heard me say that before. So that's how I make my bows smaller. Okay, so that's all ready. Now I am going to, where's my glue dot? I am going to cheat a little bit and add one under the knot just to hold it in place. Don't tell. Nobody needs to know that, right? Okay, my next step, we're going to bring in the vellum. And I'm going to start gluing my layers down. Now because I'm gluing on vellum, I'm going to use liquid glue. And I left about 1/4 inch on the outside edge. You can see, it's hard to see the vellum on the camera. I'm just going to add liquid glue so that it glues nicely on the vellum. So there's my first one. Now you're probably wondering why I am flipping my cardstock over. I had somebody kind of laugh at me one time in one of my classes because she said, do you really think there's a right side and a wrong side to your cardstock? There is. Because if you look closely where your blade, this is the wrong side. If you look closely, there's a raised edge there where the blade goes. So I always make sure that that raised edge is facing down. So to me, that's the wrong side of the cardstock. I hope that makes sense. Okay, there's number 3. I think it's just when the blade presses down on the paper, it just makes a little tiny ridge. Okay, there's my 4 pieces. Now we're going to do the white. And you guys can do this for any holiday. I'm actually going to show you a couple more samplers. So on my Stamp and Ink Designs group, if you guys do not belong to my Stamp and Ink Designs group, that's on Facebook. We just hosted a Valentines sampler. I'll show it to you when I'm done with this one. And probably next week I'm going to be posting for an Easter sampler. And what we do, it's a swap. So when you sign up, there's usually 9 people in each group, and you make 9 identical squares, and then you mail 8 of them out, and you swap with 8 people, and then your squares will show up in the mail, and then you just put your sampler together. It's a lot of fun. Okay, now these patterns, I'm going to do the dotted one at the top left. That's the one that the sentiment will go on. And then we got the striped. Whoops, hold on. I didn't want that to sit. So this is going to go fast only because I have everything all pre-cut. But just making 4 squares like this, it's really quick. Okay, one more. And then we're going to start decorating each square. This would even be pretty for a scrapbook page. You could add pictures in there. Okay, now we're going to start with this one down here, which is the heart. And you can see that it's a 3D heart. I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to use the heart punch pack. This is the scalloped heart. And I'm going to cut 4. Actually, I'm going to cut 5. I need 5. I'm going to leave this one right here. And then I'm going to bring my scoring tool. And remember the black line that I show you guys? Every time I use my black line, I explain it, only because there might be some new people on here. I used a permanent marker, and it just is so easy to line stuff up. I'm going to go ahead and score right in the center of 4 of the hearts. So that's 2, 3. See how much easier that is by having that black line there to guide yourself? Okay, now I'm going to bring in, let me move this. I'm going to bring in my scoring tool, or my bone folder, and press down on the score lines. And that heart, if you need to mail something, if you make a heart like this and you need to mail, it actually folds flat. I'll bring it back in and show you. So if this were on a card, or if you need to mail this, you just go like this and it lays flat, and then they can just fluff it up. Okay, now we're going to add glue to just half of the heart. And then we're going to press this one right over it. Make sure all the scallops are lined up. Okay, so there's 2 hearts. We're going to fold it over, do the same thing. So there's my third heart. Fold it over again. And there's my fourth heart. And you can see when I fold it, all the scallops are all lined up. Now, the reason I have this heart, I'm going to add glue to it. It just makes it easier for me to glue it to the sampler. It might not line up exactly. It might be a little smaller, but that's okay. And it's just flat, so it makes it easy to glue it down. So now I'm going to add glue over the whole thing. Bring this in and press that right in the middle. Now I know you guys can do this. This is easy. Okay, now I'm going to bring in all of these little goodies here. We're going to glue the Happy Valentines. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the lettering. Oh, I forgot to show you guys, if you share my video, where's my stamp set? I have a stamp set here somewhere. I think I laid it off to the side. I can't find it. Okay, I'm going to keep going. It's the Calming Camellia stamp set. It's a hostess set. It's kind of hard to earn from the mini catalog because you have to place a $300 order to earn it for free. But anybody that shares, I'm going to draw a name tomorrow. And I do go on your page to make sure it's showing on your page when you say you shared. So make sure, if you say you shared it, that you did. Okay, now I got to find this little tiny dot for the eye. Okay, there's my Happy Valentines. Now the next one is the little tags. We're going to do a little bit of stamping with the X and the O and the stripe. I just need to get a scrap. Okay, I'm going to start out with real red. We're going to stamp on the white tag. I don't want these lines to be too dark, so I'm going to stamp on my scrap first. And see how much lighter that is, because I want my X and O to show up. So I'm going to do the X first, up here. Then we're going to do the O. And you guys, I was going to say that's the only stamping, but no, I got to do some hearts too. So I'll be back with some more stamping. Okay, now what I'm going to do is add some dimensionals to the back of the white tag. And I'm going to put them at an angle, glue them together. And then I've got the red ribbon. I've got this white twine that's left over from one of our paper pumpkin kits. And all I'm going to do is pull this through and cut it at an angle. And then I'm going to tie a bow around both pieces of ribbon. Maybe. You kind of almost need 4 hands to do this. So I'm holding it down with one of my fingers. I'm wrapping around both tails. I'm going to pull so that it's nice and straight. I'm just going to do a bow. That looks terrible. Remember, I like small loops. I'm going to bring that in. Just make this one a little smaller. And then I'm just going to cut that off. Now this one twisted a little bit. Let me see if I can fix that. Sometimes the twine does twist if you don't hold it. Okay. Now that's going to go on this square. I'm going to add more dimensionals. If you guys have any questions on anything, again, I can't see my comments anymore like I used to. They go up for a while and then they disappear. Then a new one comes up and it disappears. So I do go look at the comments when the video's done. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, now we're going to use these 3 little banners. So our little sampler is coming along well. I'm going to add dimensionals. Now these banners, both of these were cut using the dies that came with this bundle. I forgot to mention those. And then we're going to use these little hearts for this last square. Okay, let me just peel. Now, next Friday, I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be on because I'm hosting a bingo for those of you guys that signed up. And that's at 8 p.m. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to stamp because I'm going to be all set up for bingo. I'll see how it goes. Okay, there's my banners. Now I'm going to stamp my hearts. And I'm going to do 2 with the real red, but I'm not going to re-ink so that I have one heart that'll be lighter than the other. And then I'm going to use the Highland Heather. I'm going to bring my little baby machine in. Okay, where's the hearts? Right here. I'm going to see if I can do 2 of these. So there's one big one. And one little one. So I'm going to have to do this twice because I have 2 big ones. Okay, there's my first 2. Let me see if I can pop them out of there. And we got one more to do. I love having this little machine when I do Facebook Lives. Of course, not all of the dies fit. Some are too large to fit through here, but I love this thing. If you don't have one, it's so portable. Okay, there's my 3 hearts. So let's bring this back in. And we're going to glue these 2 flat with liquid glue. And then this one's going to be with a dimensional. So I'm going to add one here. Overlap this one. Whoops. Then we'll add the little purple one. Now we're going to add some bling. Let me see, I'm going to bring this in so I can try to replicate what I did. So I've got a big one, a medium. I added a lot of bling. It's a sampler. It's going to sit on a shelf or on a wall, and you just want some really nice eye-catching products on here. And these iridescent rhinestone jewels are just beautiful. Let's see, I've got a medium down here. Look at the bling. It's almost time for a new package. Isn't that a shame? Okay, now I've got 2 big ones and a medium. Okay, hey, we're almost done, guys. And then I'll show you the other 2 that I've made recently. Okay, now we're ready to add the designer paper. Now, 2 things. For me, I'm pretty good at eyeballing when it comes to a large piece like this. If you guys are not good at eyeballing, I have these templates that I use. It's the designer paper cardboard, so 12 inches, and you just cut 4 strips 1 inch wide. Make yourself a frame, and you can actually put this on the 12 by 12 that you're using, and then glue this like so on the inside. That's how I do my the smaller squares. It's just a lot easier. But for this, it's so large that I'm pretty good at eyeballing. I'm going to add liquid glue. Lots of glue. I'm even going to add some on the ribbon. We're going to flip this over. It's going to go right there. Now, what's easy about this, you don't have to worry too much about the vellum with the glue showing through because you've got the Highland Heather. So I would just add glue over where the cardstock peeks through. Don't add any where you can see the vellum because the glue does show through sometimes on vellum. And this is going to go right over the ribbon. Just like that. I'm just going to hold it down. Oh, I love seeing all the hearts, you guys. Unfortunately, it would be too expensive to mail this, so I can't really do the door prize. But like I said, I do have the Calming Camellia. I don't know where I put it. I just chucked it somewhere. Okay, so let me bring in, this is the one that I just made with you. This is the one that I made that has the different designer paper as the background. And let me show you the one from, so Afternoon Tea Time and a Card is where I do all my other classes on Stamp and Ink Designs Facebook group. So just look for that group and ask to join. And here's the one that we made with our group. So like I said, there was 9 people involved. This was my square, so I made 9 of these. I kept 1 for myself, and then I mailed all of the other 8 to the other people in my group. And we had, I think we had 7 groups, maybe 6 or 7 groups of 9. So that was a lot of people, and all of the samplers are different. So that's the one from our group, and like I said, we're going to be doing an Easter one soon. And then I made one that is punch art with the daisy punches. I used both daisy punches. I got double layers of the large daisy and then the small daisy. I used the same dies that I used tonight. And then I used the bow punch, the new bow punch. So this one was a lot of fun too. And as you can see, they're all on the artist canvas. So that's it for tonight, everyone. I'll let you know if I have class next Friday. I'm just not sure with having my bingo event. I probably won't be able to do both. So I will either see you next week or the week after. Have a good night, everyone, and thanks for joining me tonight.